Good afternoon and welcome to ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. I'm Dave Clifton. I'm happy to be the moderator for today's show. I like to talk about positive things that are happening in our local community here in Easton. My special guest is Kelly Reed. Kelly is very much involved with the Wings of Hope here in Easton, Massachusetts. She's not an Oliver Ames High School grad, but she comes from Bridgewater, but spent a lot of time here in the town of Easton. They have a big day coming up on Saturday, October 23rd. Wings of Hope certainly works very closely with the All Colony YMCA. And this special program put on by the Easton Police Department with cooperation from the town of Easton is a very special program called DEA National Take Back. And what that means is they're going to provide an opportunity for senior adults as well as all adults here in the town of Easton to return some of their medications or pills so they're not left around that won't end up being taken care of in a positive way. And I know that Kelly, I thank you so much for joining me here today on ECAT.
Thank you for having me.
You got a nice smile on your face, and I wanted you to know that we appreciate all the good things that you've done as one of the so-called coordinators with Wings of Hope. Tell us about that organization. They've done some tremendous work here in the town of Easton.
Yeah, thank you. So Wings of Hope started in 2015, and it is a community coalition with the mission to prevent substance use among youth. And our mission is to create a healthier Easton through education, awareness, and policy change. And so what the goal of the coalition is to get different sectors of the community. So that could be schools, businesses, youth, parents, nurses, people from all over the community to join into the coalition and to create positive community norms, to change those norms around substance use.
Tell us about your background. Where did you go to high school? Where did you go to college? And how did you get involved in Wings of Hope?
Yeah, so I was actually homeschooled my entire life. That's what I graduated high school from. And then I went to school at Bridgewater State University, and my intention was to get credits there and then to transfer to a nursing program. And so I had been looking into that for many years, and then I met a mentor, the previous coordinator for Avon, and she and I became very close, and we formed a close professional relationship. And so she introduced me to the world of prevention, and at the time I was majoring in health studies at Bridgewater, which I ended up graduating with. And I really developed a passion for primary prevention and building community relationships. And so she offered me an internship back in the spring. And so I joined with her and was interning there. And then I met my current boss, Lauren, through an interview in Stoughton, and she offered me the job at the Y.
Wonderful. I think it's a good match. Certainly with your background and your energy as a young person. But let's talk about this event coming up on Saturday, October 23rd.
Yeah.
It's something that is very special that we'd like to have many residents in the community take advantage of this opportunity. We thank the Easton Police Department for making this happen, as well as other folks here in the town of Easton. And Wings of Hope, what a beautiful title. They have not only the title, but they've made a lot of things happen over the years in terms of drug prevention. But tell us how this is going to work. And of course, they're going to be dropping stuff off. Do you do pickup as well as dropping off, or they have to bring it?
People have to bring it. It's drop-off only, but it's pretty simple. From 10 to 2, we're just going to have people under a tent outside of the Easton Police Department, and we're just going to be accepting any unused, unwanted, or expired prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, or pet medications. And we're also accepting sharps. We just ask that people would include them in a sharp safe container. But the service is, as this shows, it's free and anonymous. No questions asked. People can just drop them off. And the goal of it is really just to help create a healthier and safer community by just preventing potential substance misuse that could occur with drugs that aren't being used.
So Kelly Reed, the goal is not to catch someone that might have misused drugs over the years. The goal is really to have people take care of medicines that's no longer being used, and to turn it in appropriately to the organization that will be at the police department to take care of that. And I know that the service is free, and there's no questions going to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
And this is to let you know here on ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, that we have such an event taking place on October 23rd. And hats off to the Gifts of Hope for getting involved in this venture. And this has got to put a smile on your face, not that you're not always smiling, but again, it takes volunteers to make something like this happen. We're talking with Kelly Reed, who's very much involved in Wings of Hope, and they are always looking for volunteers for different projects. Tell us, how can someone volunteer their time and effort, and who would they contact?
Yeah, so people can contact me for any inquiries, or they can email us at info@eastonwingsofhope.org. And our goal here is just to get community involvement, to build the coalition, to get the word out about substance misuse and how people can make a difference there. So some events that we have coming up on October 3rd, Easton is putting on the Natural Resources Trust is putting on the Harvest Fair. And so we're going to have a table there, and we'll have some information. We're actually going to be making Christmas ornaments for the Easton Festival of Trees.
Terrific.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And so if people would like to come out to that, that would be great. If anybody wants to volunteer to help out at the table, that would be great too. One of the biggest things is just getting involved in the coalition. And so what that could look like is volunteering with various events down the line, joining coalition meetings, and just getting a better grasp for prevention within the community. And so another event that we have coming up is we are launching book clubs, and that is going to be at the, I believe it's the Quessett House. Is that what it is?
Yes,
the Quessett House
yes.
at Ames Free Library. And that is going to be starting, I believe it's October 26th or the 27th. It's whatever the Wednesday is that week. And we're going to be launching a book club. We're starting with the book Dreamland by Sam Quinones. And that book is about America's opioid crisis. And so the goal of this book club is really just to get people talking about substances and talking about how they can affect our local communities, our nation as a whole. And it's going to be very interesting. There's going to be time for discussion, a good educational opportunity for people who are looking to understand more about book club, not more about book clubs, more about substance use. And at some point, we would love for people to start facilitating these book clubs on their own.
Where is the Wings of Hope located?
So our Wings of Hope office is located at 50 Oliver Street, Easton, Massachusetts, room 212.
And how did it get started?
Easton Wings of Hope. So back in 2015, our chair, Kristen Harrison, had experienced the loss of a loved one to substance use disorder. And so she began, with the Y, she began the coalition with them as the fiscal agent. We're federally funded through the state.
I think I heard that response before. I think I had your boss joining me on a radio show.
Oh, really?
But I wanted to share what you had to say with our viewing audience out there, because this is a very special organization. And folks out there, if you'd like to serve your community and give back in terms of community service, this is an organization. You can knock on their door and they'll find some way that you can get involved. They're in the helping people business, and how important that is in any community. And this is a great opportunity also for us to push Take Back Day. I know my parents, when I was young, weren't sure about Take Back. They wanted me to give whatever time I could. And if they gave me something, they didn't expect to take it back. But this is a good thing, folks, being able to give an opportunity to folks, no questions asked, to return pills and medicine that sometimes you don't know where to put them if you're no longer using them. And I know that this has been going on, I guess, not just this year, but it's happened in the past.
Yes, we've had Take Back Days in the past. And for this one, I believe the last one we had back in April, I can't remember if sharps were included in that, but for this one we will be accepting sharps. And we typically have these every 6 months, so in April and October.
What if there's a senior adult who may have a disability and not able to get down to the site to provide it at the police station? Is there any arrangement being made for someone to help them if there is such a need? They can't drive, they can't get down there because they may be wheelchair bound.
Yeah. Somebody, if that is the case, if they wanted to email us at info@eastonwingsofhope.org.
Right?
In advance, yep. Yeah. And we could communicate with the police department and figure something out for them.
Let's talk about some other programs that are sponsored by Wings of Hope, a very special group in the town, nonprofit, that gives their time and their talent and their ideas and their resources to make a difference in terms of drug rehabilitation. Maybe you could tell us some of the other programs that Wings of Hope is very much involved in. You talked about book clubs, and is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, David, we're getting our feet off the ground again. COVID has definitely taken a hit. So right now we're really putting an emphasis on coalition building. And so what we really want to do is just get more people involved. We have a solid steering committee that has been so dedicated to Easton Wings of Hope with their time and their resources, and they've just been a great asset. But we really want to expand the coalition for more community members to be a part of it. And so that's something that we're definitely working on doing. When it comes to drug rehabilitation, that's not really our role. We can definitely point people in the direction of where they need to go if somebody does need treatment. Our website, eastonwingsofhope.org, offers a page full of resources for people. But what our focus really is on education, raising awareness, and policy change.
That education is important. Can you share your webpage with our viewing audience?
Yes, so it's eastonwingsofhope.org.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that once again, just in case someone is driving over a bridge.
It's eastonwingsofhope.org.
Well, certainly I'm impressed. You sitting here with me today talking about the Wings of Hope. I think you were a good find for that organization to jump in and do what you can. With your background in education at Bridgewater State College, which has a terrific reputation. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewing audience? I know, once again, we'd like to thank the Easton Police Department for their cooperation. They're always there to help. That seems to be their motto. But this big event, the DEA National Take Back Day, is something that every community is not doing. And what about the folks that are from out of town? Is this just a local program?
So we can accept our specific event isn't just for the community of Easton. So if somebody is coming from another town and they want to drop off their medications, we will gladly accept it. DEA it's a national event, so many other communities are taking part in it as well. So if somebody is from another town and they want to see if they can drop off their medications at a closer location, that information definitely should be online for them. But for our event specifically, anybody can drop off.
How did Wings of Hope survive the pandemic in the past year? Did you do a lot of Zoom things, a lot of telephone stuff?
Yeah.
Like all organizations have somewhat suffered, but creativity came into the picture with a lot of groups. I think about myself doing a radio show out of Providence, and I'm doing it from my home. And I've done it from my home for an entire year.
Yeah.
Certainly I miss that traffic driving to Providence, but the fact is that people have found ways. And I've had guests that normally wouldn't drive to Providence to be on a radio show, or maybe come here to the studio to be on a TV show, but they're willing to call in and to participate on Zoom. So you get guests that you never thought that you'd get. And I know that you folks must have been hurting a little bit, but you survived it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the pandemic has shown everyone how resilient human beings are, and I know the coalition definitely had some difficulties with COVID because it definitely made it more difficult to host events and to have meetings in person, but they definitely were able to figure out how to meet virtually and continue Easton Wings of Hope.
Is there any advice, Kelly, that you could give young people out there that are sort of in the middle of using drugs and maybe don't want to get in trouble? Is there any advice or counsel you could give them, or a suggestion? I know I'm putting you on the spot by asking you a question like this.
That's totally okay.
Yeah. We're talking about providing a service and no questions asked, but there may be some young people out there that would like to return stuff but don't want to be labeled.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Any suggestion that you would like to make on behalf of Wings of Hope?
Yeah. In general, we are definitely focused on positive community norms. And so what we really want to focus on is the positive. And so when it comes to teens who are currently using, whether they currently are using or whether they're thinking about using, our goal isn't to use scare tactics or to shame people, but rather to show them healthier alternatives and to increase protective factors for them. And so while we aren't a council-based organization, we definitely educate from that point of view, and we definitely want to encourage young people to make healthy decisions for themselves rather than scare or shame them. When it comes to the National Take Back Day, like you had said, there's no ulterior motives of trying to catch people using drugs or anything like that. It is purely just for people to drop things off and to, if something is being dropped off, then automatically, the community is a little bit safer. And so that really is the goal there.
What a terrific response, Kelly. I know before the show started, she shared with me that she had never been on TV before. This is her first time. What a terrific start. Before you know it, you'll have your own show.
Thank you.
But you surround yourself with lots of people at Wings of Hope. Maybe you can give some of those folks a little pat in the back, folks that you've met that seem to step up to the plate above and beyond the call of duty. I know you had someone come with you today that's watching this show, and you got folks at Wings of Hope that have been there for a while, done some terrific things. What can you say about them?
Yeah, in the past few weeks, I've worked very closely with my boss, Lauren Bartell. She's the executive director of Healthy Living at the Old Colony YMCA. And she's just been a very welcoming person. She's really helped me just learn so much and guided me through the ropes as I started at Wings of Hope and the Y. And then Karen McDonald is who I came with today. She has been working with me, again, to just show me the ropes of coalition work. And
Good for her.
yeah, she's been very helpful, just teaching me a lot, giving me a lot of insight and advice, and so I'm very grateful to her.
That's terrific. And I think it's so important that we express appreciation to lots of folks out there that do things above and beyond the call of duty. That's going to wrap it up for our show today. And Kelly Reed, thank you so much for the good things that you're doing with Wings of Hope. Once again, do you want to repeat that date, the time, and the place for Take Back?
Yeah, thank you, David. National Take Back Day, we are going to be hosting at the Easton Police Department on October 23rd. That's a Saturday from 10 to 2. You can drop off any unused, unwanted, or expired prescription, over-the-counter, pet medications, and sharps will be included as well. And we just encourage you guys to drop that off. The service is free and anonymous, and no questions will be asked.
Well said. That's going to wrap it up for today's show here at the ECAT studio. I'm Dave Clifton on behalf of Kelly Reed, bidding you farewell. We say to you, go forth to serve. Do it with a smile on your face, just like what Kelly has. And if you're going to do something good to help someone out, do it with the dignity that it deserves. This cable cast has been a production of ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. We'll see you on October 23rd.